Sorry, I'm here. I just spilled my drink on myself. Give me 1 second, everybody. Give me 1 second. Tell my bird child that I live. Oh, oh, oh. It's the streamer. I shake my ass. Sorry, oh my god, I haven't actually calibrated my position because I was going to, but I realized I hadn't done it in like after I'd already started stream, and if I tab out of Dying Light, then it stops the music. I'm not sure if okay, there I am leaning forward. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I like actually lean now instead of just kind of moving. I know I actually have hips that move now, so it's a little silly. The noise. I actually really like these shoes. I don't remember who made them, but I really like them. They're super cute. Need to see something. I'm like slightly bent. Slightly. Hmm. I see. Okay then. I'm anchored to the floor. I forgot about that. Alright. We're trying 3D Fairy with Dying Light. This is just the first one, this isn't the second one. Like, it's worked before. And I think the reason it hasn't been working this time is because, like, I had VC Face have a higher processing priority than like everything else, but I didn't set that with Warudo. Sorry, I love the movement. Oh look, I can also. Oh no, it's not working. It's not doing it. Probably because my hands are attached to something. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I want to show you guys this. It's very difficult to do this one. No? Okay. If I go up and down, my wings flap. Like my wings do a big flap. But alas. Don't know which. Just see somebody in Cookie Run inviting me to a party even though I'm very clearly not online. Like stop. Just stop it. I beg. Like if I'm online, fair enough. Go ahead, invite me to a party. But if I'm not online, stop. What are you doing? But, but okay. Apparently I can't read. And they thought I was joking. But alas, 'twas not. Can in fact not read. I just read toe base as toe beans. Sorry, I don't have different profiles set up for this because I've got the movement. Ah, there we go. Because I've got the new like 2D movement, which relies heavily on like the pendulum physics. I just never changed it. Never changed it. I have one profile for the pendulum physics. That's it. Okay. Let me save this profile super duper fast. Okay. Dying Light. Play. Campaign. Is this the right one? 2607, 2025. Yeah, that seems right to me. Alright, here we go. Loading.
Simple. Buffon. Are you kidding me? He couldn't even catch a cold at the goddamn North Pole. Standing naked in a snowstorm.
The fuck y'all talking about? I hear someone talking shit. Whatever. Okay. Sorry, testing lag.
Walkie-talkies work much better. I wonder what happened.
I'm a little laggy, but like nowhere near as bad as it was. Okay, Jade by the Oh, I still have this quest over here, don't I? This scary nighttime quest. Where's the scary nighttime quest? I don't see it. I didn't do it. Oh, it's right here. I found it. 7-Eleven. I want to get this nighttime quest out of the way, I think, because nighttime's scary. Oh. Boing. Yo, what is up, nerds? I fell. Hilarious. Oh my god. Hello? Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna turn up the processing priority for Warudo just a little bit more. Actually, turns out Dying Light is what's giving me the most trouble right now. I don't know how well this is gonna work. I don't like VSync, but sometimes turning on VSync is helpful. Sometimes it can help with lag. Hold on, I can get through this way. Entering dark area. Is that what we're calling this? Okay, yeah, sure, buddy, why not? Definitely not a dark area, but whatever. Nah, bro. Nah, bro, you gross. Alrighty then. Was not meant to get up there, I guess. Jeez. So I'm sorry if I miss any messages coming in. I have my task manager right over my chat so that I can keep an eye on it. Sick. But alas, I am too thick to simply walk through. Ugh. I love video games. Man, if only I could reverse zipline. If only this were Dying Light 2 with the double ziplines that you have in that game, that'd be amazing. It'd be so cool. Also, I don't know how long we're gonna go for today because sorry, I was gonna say I don't know how long we're gonna go for today because I'm very tired and I'm kind of in pain right now. Turns out my Warudo did in fact not have its processing priority turned up. It keeps turning it down, keeps turning it back down to average. Hey yo, what's poppin'? Okay. Oh, that's way better on like everything. Okay, good, good.
Bless you, Rana. If you hadn't come, we'd have been dinner. Here, this is for you.
Thanks. Bye. Whee!
Hey friend, over here.
Dying Light is lagging a little bit. Video, not yes, video actually. Here. I don't know if more or less frames per second is good for Dying Light. It's like it could be more, but it also could be less. Dude. Don't get up. Nice. That seems way better. Okay. So I guess more is better for my FPS. I don't know if I should turn it on to unlimited or if I should leave it at 120. Oh, well, there I go. I like because my sword is almost broken. My, it's all bent and weird looking. I like that, like, your weapons actually will change the way that they look depending on their durability. It's really cool. Simply could not get away from that guy in time. I didn't even notice him, really. Ow, stop. This is a nice weapon. I like this. This is nice. Ooh. Ah, Jesus. Don't do that. Get off of me, you freak. No. You ruined it. You ruined the fun. Hi, buddy. You made the game not fun. I don't want to play anymore. Oh well. That's borked. No more upgrades left on that. Oh my god, bro. What am I missing to craft things? Nothing. Did I just go right by it? I think I might have just gone right by the inmate's kiss. I want this one right here. Hmm. Okay. Sorry, I was kind of finishing my food.
Have I got a deal?
What do you got? Flamingo sickle. I can see it. I can see the flamingo.
For you, friend.
It's a new one. I can see the flamingo. I say, staring directly at a fucking sickle. Can I be out of the safe zone so I can grappling hook, or like, do you not love me? Okay, you don't love me. Damn, that's unfortunate. Anyways, whee! Dodge roll saved my life. Not even a dodge roll, it's just the safe landing, isn't it? Okay, hold on, let me... I was too thick to fit through there. Hi, Cece. You might be wondering, well, Seafarer, what's the plan to get this? To get these things that you need if nighttime is scary? Well, I'll tell you. We're gonna piss a little. We're just gonna piss our pants a little bit, you know. Just a tiny bit. And then I'm gonna cry myself to sleep. And then we'll wake up and we'll run over there and we'll grab the whatever we need. I don't fucking remember. Oh, that airdrop? Oh, I already got that thing. And then we'll run away screaming.
What a deal.
Hello? Flamingo's cool. What I could do if I wanted is we could go and just wait for it to be nighttime, but I don't really know. I don't know which one is, like, safer, I guess. Why? Okay, hold on. Why don't we go over to that area so that I can see what it looks like, right? Oh my god, it's just a frickin' park. Shit. Okay, I think what would be a better idea... Wait until nighttime, collect herbs, run and grappling hook over there. Cause I'm a big old baby. Look, if you've ever played nighttime, you know. What's up, guys? Look. My braids have the proper physics now. And all it's gonna take is me redoing every single one of my outfits that I've already done. Which actually isn't gonna be that terrible because all I have to do is put them into Unity and then go and change a couple of numbers, which is just a lot easier. Thank God for Unity, I guess. Though half the time I talk about it, it's just me complaining. I don't really know what to do until nighttime. It's only 9:30. We have so much time. It only took me 2 hours to get here from all the way over here. So I guess let's go ahead to Jafar's place and get started on his quest. That's how we're gonna save our life later on. In the nighttime, when I'm going to pick flowers. You. Wee. Alright, thanks, I guess. I don't... No words. Box. I love Box. I love Box and Box loves me. First lockpick, hell yeah. Nice. Nice. Let's go. The goo. You think poor Jade is like sat in that boxcar by the school and like she sees me running by 3 or 4 times a day and she's just like, what is he doing? Why is he not coming over here? What is Crane doing? And meanwhile I'm just running around jumping on cars. Oh, Jesus. The cat just appeared. She scared me with her fuzzy little face. She came in and put her face on my leg to alert me, I guess, to her presence. And it was kind of scary, but it's okay because you're not scary. You're just baby. Why are you drooling? Okay, now you're flat. You flat, baby. Flattest baby. Little tiny baby. So small. Hey yo, that's so close, dude. I love it when it falls right by me. Actually, it's my favorite. Also, apparently you can rob Rice's men at gunpoint, and I think that's really funny. How do I get in here? Found the entrance. Hello. The fuck? Okay. That's what I thought. I was about to say, is Jafar upstairs? I thought he had a little office downstairs.
Go to Kurt. He'll
Sorry, I
explain
have to
everything.
adjust myself because of my scrambles. My scramble cat. My scrambled eggy cat. Give me this blink. Thank you. Your little nose is so cold and wet. Dude, it only took me an hour and a half to get over here. Oh my god, it takes me so long. It takes me so little time to get places. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. I'm gonna hold the cat a little bit and just... Okay. I picked her up and gave her kisses, and then I set her back down, and she started fucking nuzzling my foot. Classic cat behavior. Kurt? Yo, it's this guy!
That dynamite of yours, I'm making it into an anti-personnel bomb. It'll mow down the infected like a harvester. I'm going to combine it with firecrackers and a load of shrapnel, but I'm missing a few things. Starting with a suitable casing. A battery from a truck would be perfect. There's this big truck on the overpass. Well, it's hanging over the edge of the overpass. But you're an athletic type. Huh? You'll be fine.
You're the main character. You'll be fine. Don't lie to me. I know why you really wanted me, because I'm the main character. I know that that's the real reason. Oh, that's actually really close. I guess we might as well just do it. I'm trying to kill time, you know? Gotta be that one. Surely. Okay, I wasn't expecting this whole welcoming party. Ow. Get my ass beat. Hold up. Let me just climb on up here. Whew. I don't know where a truck's engine is. Don't get up. This weapon is awesome. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to make so many more of these. Okay. Figured it out, I guess. Do I look like I know cars? Do I look like I know cars? Look at me in my little pink dress. Do I look like I know cars? I don't. I know the basics. Car battery important. Car battery give lots of power. Car battery good.
Got your battery, Kurt.
Okay, so we've got the casing. Next, I'll need some metal scrap from the junkyard to use for shrapnel. After that, I need sugar and some cables. Try the shops or warehouses. Bring them back.
Would I have all of that?
Bomb that'll blast 100 infected at once.
Sold.
Surely I already have all of that, right?
This should take care of the shrapnel.
Good job, Crane.
Sugar, not the cleanest.
Doesn't matter. We're making a bomb, not a cup of tea.
Are these cables all right?
They'll do. All right, we've got everything. Give me some time. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kurt. Ooh, quest. Hello.
Now, what have you got?
Someone must have turned the antenna on. We're picking up signals from all over town. One of them is from Hansen's group. Hansen used to run security at the tower, but he thought the building was too vulnerable.
I can see that.
He wanted to move everyone to a new location. Of course, Brecken wouldn't have it. So him and some others up and left. We never heard from them after that, until today. You can hear for yourself.
This is Seref. I'm with Hansen's group. There's been
So I fixed my tongue glowing.
We need help. I'm concerned who might be listening.
It took me a very long time, but I got my tongue to stop glowing.
It just repeats.
Does Brecken know about this?
He said until we actually talk to someone, he doesn't want to risk sending a runner out there.
That's
Maybe I'll
fair.
go out and have a look.
I'd appreciate it. Hansen ran a tight ship. I can't understand how things could have gone wrong with him in charge.
Mushy kitty. Yeah, no, we can do that. That's fine. It's 11. I've got plenty of time before it's night. I think we'll say when Jade gives us that warning, the first warning, we'll go ahead and, we'll go ahead and run on back over there. I think that's probably a good idea. Oh my god, look at how much smoother everything is now that I've turned up the processing priority for Warudo. Yay! I'm actually very happy that I figured that out. I can't believe I didn't even fucking think about that. We should be able to play Cyberpunk with 3D Fairy now too. I don't think we'll be able to play games like Red Dead Redemption and Dying Light 2 because those ones are a lot bigger, but you never know. Look, another area that would be perfect for a safe house. There's so many areas that you could totally go, oh yeah, that'd be a safe house.
The bomb's ready. Come on.
That was fast, thank
Okay,
you.
I'll see you there.
Is there up? Are they up or are they up? Okay, they're just up.
to handle.
I sure did. It's me. I'm that thing.
Thanks, friend. I was hiding from the flesh eaters. Thanks for your help.
I was hiding from the flesh eaters. I know. That's where I found you, dingus. Okay, Alright. weird maneuvering to get around that, I guess. No idea what that was, but I'll take it. Okay, I'm down here now, I guess. I'll just, yeah, we'll just go around the little, yep, that's fine.
Jafar, it's Crane. I'm at the building. Listen, the entire outer structure is electrified.
That's Hansen's trademark. He was the first to rig the electric traps. He's got a real knack for it.
I really need to shut off the generator. I'm up here already. Oh my god, it really wants me to shut off the generator. Oh. Nice. Haha.
Okay, I'm gonna shut it off.
Oh, that actually killed it? Question mark? Nope. Boop. Alright, cool. I got the 2 plus 200 XP and thought that I'd killed the... Damn it. And thought I'd killed it and got kinda happy, but alas, did not. This weapon is so sick, dude. You don't understand. I'm actually kind of in love. I'm gonna get married to this weapon. Better hit up my best friend. Hey yo, will you be the best man? Question mark. At my wedding. And they'd be like, oh yeah, who are you marrying? I didn't know you were dating. I'll be like, it's this beautiful creature. And I'll send them a photo of the weapon. And they'll just nod. They'll understand. They're smart like that. Never played Dying Light, but they'll understand. Who in the fuck just entered? That sounded like a jack entering. That was way too graceful to be a pigeon. I don't know where he is, if it was him. I swear I saw somebody enter. I'm on top of my headphone cord. Sorry. CC just got okay. Sorry. I'm trying to scoot, but I'm on top of my headphone cord. But like, I might be going insane. There's nobody else in here except for Scrungles. CC got off my lap, and you know she gets off by going underneath the desk, and I don't want to accidentally run her little kitty self over. We good. Like, I could totally climb up now.
Jafar, I think I found Hansen. Looks like he took a fall, and then the biters finished him off. He's been dead for a while.
What about about the others?
Oh, they're all
I'll
dead
let you know when I
also.
find something.
I already know that they're dead. I already climbed up there. Grappling hook and whatnot. This one's not even the right building. Can I... Nope, shit. Ah. There we go. Just wait for the grappling hook to charge back up. Sorry. Loot. She got power cables. Awesome. That is, I guess, kinda helpful. Oh, well, there I go again. I know, thank you. I'm aware, I'm just bad at the game. Let's try this again. Is this even wasting any time? Oh my god, it's only fucking 1 o'clock, dude. It's this one right here, right? There we go, okay. Sorry, looking loot. All these people are dead. Loots their corpses.
This is Seraph. It seems we've run out of options. 2 weeks ago, Hansen fell off the scaffold right after switching on the security system. But now the entire building is electrified, and we've been trapped up here ever since. No one's responded to our distress calls, and we've run out of supplies. The only thing left is some cyanide that Hansen thoughtfully brought with him. Anyway, given the choices, we all decided to go this way. There was talk of trying to go cannibal, but then we'd just be smarter versions of fighters. Better this way. Besides, how smart are we for allowing Hansen to leave us stranded up here in the first place? Thanks for finding us, whoever you are. Sorry for the mess. Seraph Hassan.
Okay. Also, sorry if you hear just...
Jafar, I found the rest of his group. They're all dead.
We had a little boba
Killed
thing,
themselves.
so...
Why? What the hell happened?
That's all that is. Just
Looks like
whenever
Hansen switched
whenever
on
I'm
the
taking
security
a
grid and
drink.
then fell. The rest of his people got stranded on the roof with no way down. Looks like they eventually ran out of supplies and decided to cash out.
They couldn't get into the building?
Well, it seems Hansen had the only key. Guess he didn't trust anyone else.
No, Hansen never trusted other people.
Yeah, it's too bad they trusted him.
Thanks for going out there, Crane. Jafar out.
E. Back to Kurt. Okay. Leakages. Sorry. Ooh, nice. Okay. Is there anything I can jump on? Anything I can jump on to get down from here? Nice, nice. I need to use my throwing knives more often than I do. By that I mean, like, just at all. I'd never use them. Though they're kind of funny. Maybe I'll run into a volatile and just start throwing fucking knives at it. I'm sure that'll get it. That'll definitely kill it. Oh, Crane died? What happened? He'd been doing so good. He'd been alive for so long. Yeah, he tried to kill a volatile with knives. It's like, oh, well, I've killed one with a knife before. I was like, no, like throwing knives.
Putain, I thought I was a goner. Thank you, man.
Yar. I've been saying yar a lot lately. I don't know why. I switched between like yar and yer for instead of just yes. Or yeah, you're like yeah, it's just you know, maybe be like thanks for the help. No, thanks for the help, yar. Fuck. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like this. Oh. Is this a fucking school? God dang it. Hello, buddy. Okay, bye. I don't know what that guy's doing. Woo! Kurt, my man.
Got a bomb for me?
Yeah.
The prototype. It's on the table, ready to be tested.
Nice.
Barricaded tunnel nearby. It's chock full of volatiles during the day, but at night it should be pretty clear. You won't find a better place to test the bomb.
Okay, I'll try the tunnel and let you know how it went.
One more thing.
Why?
Remember about the firecrackers. The bomb will go off as soon as they're done popping. That's how much time you have to get the hell away. Good luck.
You fucking shit. Place bomb in tunnel at night. Dude, I already have another nighttime quest. Why are you doing this to me? It's scary out there. It's scary. I don't wanna. I'd rather go outside at night during Dying Light 2. Mostly because it's less scary. I didn't understand all the memes before, but I do now. I understand. Like, I think nighttime and Dying Light 2 could be scary. But it's nowhere near on the same level as the first game's night times. I think a part of it is just that you have so much, like, so many more skills and whatnot. You have so many more parkour skills and everything and options. Like, you're kind of, Aiden, I will admit, he's kind of OP with his parkour combat shit that he's got. It's like, Crane has a little bit, but I find myself mostly relying on weapons when I play as Crane, and then when I play as Aiden, I find myself primarily relying on my parkour skills. At least now I know why that tunnel was considering itself a dark area earlier. Because it technically is, I guess. There were only like 3 volatiles in there, by the way, I'd just like to point out. Admittedly, that's not that many. Man, it's only 14 o'clock. Are you serious? I love that I don't even say the actual time. It's like, gosh darn it, it's only 14 o'clock. It's It's only 2. It's almost 3, I guess. So, like, at least we got that going for us, but... just ugh. I don't like sleeping until nighttime. I'd rather wait for nighttime. I know, I'm weird. Whoop. That tunnel. Is this a... I was about to say, I think that this might technically be a video game barrier. Level 24 for the ultimate free runner thing. Only level 25. What? I'm only level 12. What? I said I'm only level 25. Definitely not level 25, but okay. Oh jeez. You think those dancing zombies are still here? I'm not gonna check, I'm just curious. Like, do you think they're still here? Anyways. Is that music coming from the speakers? That's new. There was never music before, I don't think. Maybe Osmond's brother. Seems like the quest wants me to come in here, so... you know, free supply packs. I'm not really gonna complain, because that's free XP right there. Let's see this. It might not have wanted me to come in here, and I might just be a silly, silly guy. I fear I was just being a bit silly, and I don't need to come in here.
Shit, the goddamn switch broke down.
You say that, but you actively walked over and just turned it off. That's not breaking down, that's turning it off. He did the exact same thing last time. It's like, oh man, it broke. It's like, you turned it off. Unless he just means it broke down as in, like, he can't turn it back on. Hello, 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 hello. process those guys in time. They always get me. Oh. Yeah, I hear you. I just don't... Maybe was us... Because it changed my tracked quest. Was us getting the note us finishing the quest? There's a fucking... Sorry, there's a something buzzing around in my room right now. Better just be a gnat. There we go. Okay. Also, I mostly was just using my knives because I need to clear out my inventory a little bit. Haha! I don't know why my heart was beating so fast right there. It's not like they're really scary. It's not like virals are like the worst thing that you could possibly deal with. Only 252? That's not that many. Okay, well that's fine, I guess. I think the Leaping Tiger Dao is better than the Sword of Night. I could be wrong about that, I don't really remember. Alright, well. Oh, I meant to go to my quests. Found it. Kind of went into the main supermarket area for no reason, but like I got the disaster relief packages, so I'm not gonna complain. The heck? What the fudge? Dude, where is it? Oh my god, where is it? Okay. There we go. What? Fine, I guess. I opened that expecting there to be loot, and then there was literally nothing in there. Way to trick me into wasting like 3 lockpicks. Hey, I found Nazim. Maybe. I can't open stalls. Why is this still showing up as like a thing? Okay, I can't peek over stalls either. I'm seeing all these vents places. Do I have to vent? Do I have to be sus? I do. Okay, so that's why I had to come in here. Alright, that's fine then. Why glowy light? That's just the hallway. Ooh. Ow!
Shit!
I'm gonna be honest. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to get out of here.
Who the hell are you?
I'm a guy,
Your brothers
bro.
pay me to find you.
Oh, well, you've definitely earned your money. But Osman is in danger. Rice's men know where he is now. It's a lot to ask. But could you take him a message?
I guess.
Tell Osman that he's got to get out of there. And if he should meet me at the Red Wall stash, he'll know what that means.
All right, I'll tell him. Now we'd both better get out of here.
I can't go back through here, can I? Go back through the vent? I'm not seeing a way to do that, though. So there's a way through. Okay, I figured it out. I'm out of tea, but the balls, they remain. My god, this thing is crinkly! So I know that there was just a big Dying Light 2 update at some point. We will definitely take a look at it. This is boring. I like that the alarm is like still going off though. That's neat because I straight up did not even bother turning it off. I didn't even try to look for like where the switch could be. I just left. Nice. Invisible stamina regen. I get through here. Is stealth killing a thing in this game?
What the?
I don't know. Hello? Hello? The fudge? Hello? Oh. Arnar! Oh, you're still alive. Never mind, actually. Yay, I can rob them! I love that for me. I like that it was like, kill the bandits. Meanwhile, the bandits are already dead and I'm looting. Maybe it wasn't expecting me to kill them that fast. Of course I did with this fucking weapon. It's so good.
Another minute and I'd be a dead man. I thought maybe you'd sort me out.
Raisha's men got your brother. He talked before I could get to him.
So Nazim is dead.
No, he's all right, though you're both short a few fingers now. Anyway, he says he wants you to meet him at the Red Wall stash. He said you'd know what that means.
It means you didn't double-cross me. You're a straight shooter, Brecken's guy. You want to join me and my brother?
Yeah, no, I'll just take my pay.
Fair enough. I promised you good. This is good. These keys will open 3 stashes in different parts of the slums. If you can get to them, they're all yours. Good luck, Brecken's guy.
Alright. Sure. Now it's telling me to go and explore the quarantine zone. Will they show up, like, on my map? If I look? Yeah, there's one. Well, I just saw the one, but that's okay. You. Inventory full. Man. It's 210, 98, 104. Okay, that's fine. Just looking around for loot. You know how it is. What's the time looking like? 5:30. Well, Alright, that's a video game barrier. We'll go this way then. I don't know why I'm swimming. Just a little thirsty, you know, just wanted a nice drink, I suppose. Scrambles? Have you just been sitting in here next to the door this whole time? And I just didn't notice? Okay, she might have been. I don't know though. Sorry, I'm sucking boba by straw. Just the balls, though. There's no more tea left. I just take damage, or am I just tripping? I think I'm just tripping. Okay, I don't... This is actually just a dead end. Okay. Cool. Not seeing any of this plant that I need. Supposedly I'm approaching one. Here we go. How much of this do I need? Quests. This isn't the marked area. Okay, but I can still get it. Awesome. I only need 5. Well, there's not even a marked area, so like... What does it matter? Just need one more. Bright red. Sweet. Where is that? Is that back at the tower? No, that's in the fisherman's village. It's 6:30. Don't know if we should have enough time. I think it only takes me about 2 hours to get across the map, so we should have enough time. Like, just barely, depending on how fast I can go. Human. Don't worry, I'll help you! No, take your time, it's fine. Okay.
We have. It's yours.
It's like they had to process it. It's like they weren't expecting they weren't expecting it to be over that fast. They just had to sit and process it for a second. Okay, that's it. This isn't no, I'm embarrassed. I'm leaving. I'm embarrassed. How the fuck did I miss that drop kick, dude? Oh my god. Hello! Goodbye! Whoop! Whoop! Little barbed wire never hurt anybody. Except for me. It hurt my feelings.
The radio signal is stronger than ever before.
Yeah, it is. Hello! Making me go around to the door, the fuck?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, take this. My own recipe. It disinfects, improves coagulation, and boosts wound healing process.
Your child looks scary. The kids in this game are actually fucking terrifying to look at. Okay. I can make it. It's fine. I can make it. I got this. I can do it. I can make it. Just have to, you know, get to the complete opposite side of the map. No big deal. We got this. We got this. We got this. That's fine. This is fine. It's fine. Oh, hey, look, it's some Orisis men. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. I have more important things to deal with right now, such as getting here before nighttime. We haven't gotten the warning from Jade yet, which is good. A little bit of a fall there. Whee! Nah, bro, it's fine, it's fine. I'm not gonna stop and get the stash. I'm just gonna go ahead and go and get this, go to this area. I'm incredibly nervous. I don't like being outside at nighttime. Okay, I think what we're gonna have to do will be over here. I need to get up top of a building somewhere. Just, I know that the volatiles can climb, but it's still gonna be safer than me running around on the ground. So, run around, collect the plant, run over there. Make sure I have the flares. Are those UV flares? Or are these just flares? They can be used as portable safe zones. Okay. It tells me they're UV flares. Now we wait. The noise is the boba going up the straw, by the way. Okay. So chat, how are you? Cool, cool. Dude, I am Noivus. I didn't even need to wait until nighttime. It's not technically nighttime yet. Alright, sick. I didn't even need to wait. Alright, where's Gersel? It's all the way back in the fisherman's village. Oh, hi, Cece. That time you didn't spook me, I felt you... felt the chair dip as she crawled up. Like, hello, it's me. Scrambled egg the cat. You sure are, you're just a little scrambled egg. I was gonna say, technically speaking, I should be safe in here. No. What the fuck? What are you buying? Actually wasn't expecting there to be anybody up here. Up, 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 up. Is that the school over there? I think it is. I just coming home. Me too, baby. Wish I had binoculars. I know I'm in a safe area. I just want to pull a funny prank. If I see a volatile, I want to pull a funny prank. You know, this is my new YouTube's prank, YouTube prank channel. There's like no volatiles. I'm just gonna go to sleep. Let's just take a nap. Let's check out my outfits and maybe take a nap. Some of these are cool, but I still think that the Volatile Hunter one is the best one. It's not like that I really dislike certain ones. It's more so that I like the color, right? So like the Volatile Hunter outfit has the glow in the dark orange, and I really like that. Flesh Ripper. Have I used the Flesh Ripper? I don't think so. And I eat. Right.
You're going to tell us everything anyway. Why prolong it?
Hello! Hold on. Hello! I missed.
They grabbed us while we were scouting this place. They were
Thank you, my friend. If you hadn't come along when you did, they would have beaten us to death.
Nah, bro, you're good. This fucking any excuse to use this weapon, genuinely, at this point, it's just so good. I'm so in love with it right now. Okay. I should also work on some upgrades here, so let's go ahead and do that. Sweet. Just casually make that my most powerful weapon. Where am I going? Back to Gersel. Right. Another one? Man, what's up with all these zombies in the apocalypse? I sure wish they wouldn't. Run. Go, my son. Be free. Is this the safe zone I was just in? Yes, awesome. Just checking. Oh, well, there I go. Missed the zip line, I guess. Classic. He's like, no. Are you sleepy? You are You're just a big old sleepy baby. So sorry, hold on. I want to check something I realized. Why is this not working? Because it's already open. That's why I figured it out. Hold on. Aha! I was trying to show off how bouncy my little wings are now with my new movement, but it didn't work. There we go! Yay! It wasn't working because I didn't. The couple of blueprints that I need, I didn't assign properly. They needed to be told to receive data from my iFacial mocap, but they weren't, and now they are. So now I bounce. If I go too fast, it lags. So look at how flappy they are. I don't know. I think that the flapping is really cute. Okay, I might have to turn it off though, because my god, this lag. Look at me. Okay. It's only mildly laggy. It's not like that big of a deal. If I just start moving around way too fast, it'll lag. But I think for right now, it's okay. Oh, I forgot there's toads here. I don't want to use the ladder. Yay. Oh Jesus! I always do this. I always panic and smack the bomber and then die. Oh no! Oh my god, I do it every freaking time. I'll get the hang of it. I'll remember one day. Let's just, you know what? I don't want to go to this school anymore. I think that the school is cursed. Not worth it. It's just not worth it to go to the school and die over and over again. Because that seems to be the school. It just means okay. So I went back to school. Everybody decided to go back to college. You know, my first college experience was so great. It was so fantastic. Yeah. Y'all seeing this bozo? Okay, nice audio delay there. Maybe, hold on a sec. Let me, I think I'm gonna need to turn off something, but look at my little stippies. Look, now I actually step to the side and stuff. I'm gonna have to turn off something. I'm not sure what though. See, the movement's, it's cute, but I can definitely see the lag that it's causing. Why is my alt tab isn't working? Nothing is working. Hello? The fudge? Sorry, my computer is crapping itself? Okay, there it goes. Weird. Boop. Boop, boop. I think I can probably turn off the stippy steps. I don't think the stippy steps need to be turned on. The steppies. Just gotta make sure it's not lagging. At least. Oh, it seems a lot better. Okay, so it doesn't like the steps. It's still a little bit laggy, but it's nowhere near what it was, which is good. God, I will say the flapping is a bit distracting. I'm I'm sure I can. I'm sure. Sorry, I'm gonna get up really fast and grab something. I'm sure I can adjust the stepping and whatever to make it less. Oh, motherfucker. I turned around to get my heating pad, and my heating pad's not up here because it's downstairs. Because I took it downstairs to wash it, and I keep forgetting to bring it back upstairs. And I'll. I'll have to go grab it. I'll be right back. Okay, I back. Give me a sec. Trying to plug it in to where it needs to be plugged into is kind of a pain. It's plug it in to my battery that's underneath my computer. And it just did not want to get plugged in. The worst part about this thing is that it like resets every single time it gets unplugged and plugged back in. I'm also gonna go ahead. Get my tracking back up here, sorry. Yeah. I'll go ahead and turn off my arm pendulums and see if that might help. Because I'm very bouncy and I think it's very cute. But, no, okay. It's because these pendulums are for up and down, they're not for left and right. I'm sure I can. I'm looking. I'm looking in the blueprints. Jesus, yeah, I definitely need the arms turned off. That or I'm just gonna have to turn off the mouse and keyboard, but I like the mouse and keyboard, it's cute. So let me just see this. I don't know what I'm looking for, mind you. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to go and watch a little bit more of their video on this. Don't know what that pendulum's attached to. Is it just this one? Is it, first of all, this blueprint is massive. Is it just this? It's just this one blueprint. Okay, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't know where. That's the. Sorry, just turn around and the cats are ass to ass. God, it's kind of cursed. Like, I don't want my arms to be moving that much, right? I'll figure it out like off stream. Okay, wait, let me take one more little peek and see if I can't just figure it out. Nope. You can also just temporarily turn it off until I figure it out. Ooh. I do think I'll still turn off the like up and down 4 character movements. I don't know if that'll help at all. Or if like maybe turning off my pendulum might help also. That's just thing. I really like this movement. I think it's cute. I just don't know how to stop my arms. I think the problem is like legit just that my body is moving, but my arms aren't. So it's just weird. Which that's not necessarily any fault of the person that made the 2D movement physics. That is actually fully a Warudo issue. if you have the mouse and keyboard turned on, then Warudo won't make your arms not move. So it's just a bit inconvenient. It's okay. I think for right now is probably fine. It's hopefully fine. Streamer is not pissing. Streamer was actually never pissing. Streamer was in fact just in pain and had to go get their heating pad. Also got way too many tabs open. Like, why do I have Steam open? I mean, like, yeah, I know why I have Steam open. Obviously, I'm playing a game on Steam. It's why do I have the Steam window open, you know? Seems a little bit unnecessary. I missed. I missed again. We should maybe climb up some of these radio towers that we run by and see if we can't find binoculars. I still like the flaps. I think the main issue with the flaps is my wings aren't the only spot that has jiggle physics. Unfortunately, just not much we can do. Besides, I shake my ass now, and that's pretty neat. It's very cute. Thank you. Thank you, person who made this. I believe their username is Gilly. Literally just looked and I already don't frickin' remember. I'm pretty sure it's like a Gilly. Honestly, if you search Warudo 2D movement, you'll find it. It was literally the first video that came up. For any other, I don't know, 3D tubers that use Warudo and are not in the Discord. Actually, I only knew it existed because they're in the Discord and I saw they'd made a post about it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Just decided to check it on out. Technically this is a zipline that's... It's just played so much. I don't... Okay, sorry. I tried to hit space to get onto the ladder. Because I think this X, which is space, is the same button to get onto ladders. Or, X, which is like your jump button. I'm pretty sure that was how you got onto ladders in The Last of Us, so I'm just kind of used to... What is that? Ew. Oh, I was kind of hoping to kick it off of the... You know, it's fine. Things I've learned from video games. If I roll, I can't die from fall damage. If I land in water, I can't die from fall damage. If I land on piles of garbage or a car, I can't die from fall damage. It's very easy to avoid fall damage. Heights won't kill me. Heights don't kill people. People do.
So, it's you again. Look, you can tell Rise that he can bite... Hey, what's that? Have you brought the herbs? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. No more food scavenging from now on. Well, I still can't figure you out. But here's your prize. I think you deserved it.
Thank you. Who in the fuck else? Oh yeah, this guy.
Oh, you found binoculars. Great. They will come in handy for sure. Here's a reward. Not too much, but I can also show you a glass eye trick. Oh, not interested? Whatever.
I don't have a glass eye? Alright, what else do we have? Bro, I don't know. Don't know where these could possibly be. I say, why don't we go ahead and do a little bit of grinding, quote unquote grinding, I say. I just a tiny bit. Also, I did change my lighting a little bit more. I'm actually so happy I decided to figure out how to do this. I think it was so worth it. I know you guys kind of like it too, which makes me very happy because it took me so long to figure out the lighting. The process of doing it actually isn't even that difficult. It was just that I wanted the extra step of having like the glowing eyes. I didn't even know it was like a thing you can do. I don't really watch other VTubers, but I started getting into Iron Mouse recently. And she just had her 8th anniversary, so she had, you know, new model, because I guess it's also kind of funny, because I know how that she just has a new model, like, every other day. Just like me, for real. But, it, like, when it had, like, dynamic lighting, and when it got dark, her eyes and her little, like, skull hairbands would glow in the dark, and I was like, that's sick. That's so cool. How did she do that? It looked so fucking cool. Hers looks a lot better, but I think it's easier to do if you're a 2D avatar than if you're a 3D avatar. Because VTube Studio, which is the program that most 2D tubers use, I'm pretty sure VTube Studio just, like, has a feature built into it that allows that, basically. Whereas that is not a thing. That is just not an option for me. Somebody talked about how they, like, wanted it added to Warudo, but it was kind of a very brief conversation, and I don't think it's getting added, unfortunately. If it does, though, that'd be sick. That'd be awesome. I would love it if, like, the dynamic lights feature got added to Warudo, but I'm not entirely sure how it would work. I don't even know how it works in VTube Studio. Gonna open this now? Right, but like, you can't get up here, can you? I see him running. Oh, I forgot about the plane. I don't think I can jump down from here. Well, I mean, I can, but I don't think it'd be very safe to jump down from here. There's a bomber there. That was crazy. And sploosh. It's so easy to get XP like this. I can't believe that they just didn't even think about how people could sit inside of the— Sorry, I just looked over. I need to take a photo with these kitties. They're so cute. First of all, Pigeon is sat there looking so pissed off. She's like, why is my ass so warm? And then Cece is just like curled up against her butt. She's like, I like snuggles. Cece is just a very snuggly cat, and she likes Pigeon a lot. Her and Pigeon have always been extremely close. Like, literally, I have a fucking video of Pigeon holding Cece kinda in a headlock and just grooming her head, and Cece's just like... just vibing, living her life. Oh. Pigeon, get off my iPad. It doesn't need to be cracked anymore. Pigeon is now done with the snuggles, but joke's on her. If she decides that she's done, Cece will just adjust herself. Pigeon, stop sniffing my drug bottle! You don't need those! Like, Cece has legitimately done this, because she does this to me, so of course she does it to Pigeon, also. She'll... If you are snuggling her, and then you get up, she will also get up and move, so that she is still snuggling right up against you. The problem with Cece is, specifically when she snuggles, she gets, like, literally right up against you, but she's so warm. She's such a warm little kitty. She's so small and cute too, though, so it's okay. She's forgiven. Hi, buddy! Hello! Hi, buddy! Hi, buddy! Come on! Swim away! I'm gonna die. Damn. What is the range on that guy? What is the range on volatiles? Volatile spit, that was crazy. Time is it? Okay, I'd like to swim over to that safe. Is there a quartermaster in that safe zone? No, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, I was gonna say I'd like to swim over that safe zone because I want to go to a quartermaster. But it does not appear that there is a quartermaster over there. I need Wolfsbane. That's what it said. I don't know. I'm gonna Google it really fast. I don't know. Wolfsbane, Dying Light. Oh, they're the poisonous herbs? Okay. It literally says on the thing that they're the poisonous herbs. I'm so silly. It's fine. So there's some here. That looks like that's it, but that's okay. Nah, dude. I definitely shouldn't have left this door open, because there might still be a... Yeah, alright. I was gonna say a bomber might have respawned. I love XP. Why is this locked? Hi, buddy! There is nobody there. It's fine. Oh shit! Ow! Oof! Ooh! Oh, sorry, I almost missed. I got scared. I got a little bit worried I was gonna miss, so I kind of panicked and moved to the side and broke my knees. Let my grappling hook go up a little bit. It's possible to use it twice in a row without it, like, needing to recharge, but you have to let it recharge a little bit. And then you can use it the second time. That's why we're in here. Tic Tac, I could never figure out Tic Tac, genuinely. Health regen might be good. Instant escape is also probably a good idea. Tackle might be good. Same with Ram. Can't get Rams. During a slide. Okay, I don't have slide unlocked. I don't really plan to get slide, or, well, to use it, I guess I should say, because it's broken. Unless they magically fixed it, which I don't think that they did. Sorry. God, the arms, I will figure out the arms, I swear. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do about them right now. Do I have a notification on Twitch? What the fuck is this? Who notified me of what? New sponsorships are available through Stream Elements. I don't care. Okay, good for Stream Elements. Let's get health regen, because I'm a reckless little stinker that will die all the time constantly without extra regen. I really do die so often. Whether or not I mean to, I die. Okay, nobody up here. Might respawn every couple of days, maybe, I'm not sure. Let me just go ahead and get that XP before it's daytime. It's 200 XP for fucking jumping down here, like, I don't know, it just makes sense. Might need this in the future, you never know. I'm gonna go ahead and mark a location so I know where I'm going. We're gonna have to do some main story stuff here very soon. Getting to the point where I'm running low on side quests. I've got this one and then I have the one to go and place the bomb in the tunnel at night, which I really don't want to do, but you know. Nope, that is barbed wire. Okay. Dude, the lights on my poor keyboard are struggling. Dude, that is not my problem. Cool, broke my legs. Hi! Sup?
Oh my god, you're not infected, are you?
I mean, I am, but... I might not bite. Put a fucking warning sign. Maybe I should wear a sign. Warning. Infected and does bite. Not zombie though. Do not put hands near Sea Fairy's mouth. They will get bitten. Not zombie, just infected. Oh yes, what a lovely, lovely day. Oh, look at how beautiful my city is. Oh man, it sure is noisy. The neighbors sure are noisy today. Oh man, that's unfortunate. Hey buddy. Oh wow. What the fuck? Whee! Kick your legs a little. Just do a little leggy kick. Have a little bit of fun. Have a little bit of fun, Crane. Before the trauma takes over. And Dying Light the Beast. Hi! Ow. No, you guys are being mean to me. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm leaving. Fucking bullies. Okay, almost there. Just running into houses, you know, looting. I always need more loot. I'm pretty sure that guy is definitely not dead, because the dropkick in this game is not great. It's not bad, it's just not great. Which isn't really anything on the game. I'm sure it was great when the game came out. But, what am I saying? Just like looking at the dropkick in 2 versus the dropkick in this one, it's just like, ugh. Could be better. You can legit just one-shot people with your dropkick in Dying Light 2, and this one it takes, I'd say at least 2 dropkicks. I've never actually tried to kill somebody, but I know it takes more than 1. There's one of those stinky zombies too, ew, okay. I accidentally end up doing like the coolest shit all the time. Like, yeah, I just meant to dropkick you and instead I vaulted off your head and then stabbed you somehow. I don't know if it's cool or if it's just weird and confusing. Like, I don't know how I managed to do that. Oh, hey guys, check it out. Is this a cave? Or no? But there's this fucking airdrop here. Which is interesting. Not complaining, just wondering why it's here. I asked if this was a cave because I know that there's a cave somewhere. Yeah, it is this one. I'm gonna say I know that there's a cave somewhere that's a volatile nest. I enter and then just slowly back away, imagine. Imagine some guy comes into your house, stares at you for a couple of seconds, and then just like slowly backs away. alarm just going off. Usually if I make a if I make a weird face, it's because I hear something. And I hear there's a car alarm going off. Just give me a second, we'll go ahead and go check that out. I'm not sure what that is. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Well, I mean, obviously I've heard a car alarm go off. I don't think I've ever heard it happen in this game, though. Just go ahead and finish looting. Hello? I thought it was a car alarm. It sounded like one. Just a normal alarm. I was expecting there to be somebody in here, but it's just empty. Okay, I guess. Sure. That's interesting. Okay. Of 165, 139. Okay. Does a bit more damage than it once did. Sweet. It also does a bit more damage than all the other stuff that I've got, so that's cool. I'm always a fan of more damage. Makes it easier to give my friends really painful high fives. Hello, goodbye. I love that I'm not even going the correct way. Why? Dude, I had so many freaking quests at that damn fishing village. You. Like, sometimes there's little boxes on these balconies. But alas, there was none. I'm gonna try this once. I fell, so, you know. Might as well just purposely exit out of it. It's just, yeah. You have to be so careful jumping across there. I can never manage to do it. I think I did it like maybe once or twice, and that was about it. So I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying that, like, I'm not exactly the most careful when it comes to parkour. So you know. Hey, what's up?
Crane, how's the tower's best runner feeling today, huh? Ready for a rematch?
I'm surprised you're asking. Racket, was it? Racket, right?
Rocket. It's Rocket. So, Crane, let's do it again.
Okay.
Same rules.
Alright, challenge.
Alright, Rocket, prepare to eat my dust.
T. Boy, oh boy, is that far. Wow, I can do it when I don't even need to. What did you just cling on to? What the fudge? And he didn't want to climb into that window? Okay, I guess. The fuck just happened to my music? Oh god. I'd also like to say there's just no way in hell I'm doing this thing. I messed up way too much in the beginning. I don't think I'm getting this, but you never know. If I redo it, yeah, I definitely could, but no.
I'm the best. I am the best. Ha! In your face. Well, you should totally keep trying.
I will, because I know I can beat you.
Alright, Rocket, prepare to eat my dust.
Whoop. Way better this time. Okay, that's fine. Messed up a little bit. We're good, no worries. Just hop over this and go ahead and E. Lag, alright.
Well,
You're good,
Bomber
for sure,
surprised
but
me.
Everyone can be beaten. See you next time, Crane.
Zombie surprised me. A bomber. I think I'm probably only gonna go for like another hour or so. Sorry, I'm in a bit of pain.
Thanks, great job. We'll make good use of this.
It's just, I'm in pain right now, guys. I'm sorry. That's fine. That's not far at all. Owie. Nope. Not far at all. Actually, right next to a safe zone, too. Cool. Not that that really matters right now, but still. Cool. Yeah. Boing, boing, boing. Question is, am I saying boing to my wings or am I saying boing to my massive honkers? Fuck yeah. There is nothing but despair in here. And drugs. Nothing but despair and drugs. What's the difference, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? Okay, got to deliver some herbs. Herbs. Oh. Best runner challenge is already ready again, so might as well go and go. No. Let's wait until I've got the better grappling hook, because right now, as it stands, my grappling hook is... it's not good. It's like okay. Like, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it could definitely be better. Hold on, sorry. My poor keyboard is like just struggling right now. The lights specifically, they're just like, I can't do it. We cannot go on. Same with my mouse, actually. The lights on my mouse and keyboard have both completely stopped working. Well, actually, my keyboard is fine. My mouse isn't, though. Well, the keyboard's at least doing better than the mouse. The mouse is just not going, which that could also be, honestly, the program for this mouse is kind of shit. Which sucks. But, you know. Mouse is good, so I'm not really gonna complain. And it's not like it's the worst program in the world, it's just kind of annoying. Fixed it. Oh my god, I also just realized. Oh, no, never mind, my mouse. Okay, no, there it goes. Alright, sorry, I just realized. Tools. Captions. Yes. Sorry, I keep forgetting to turn those on because I have to redo it every single stream, so I just forget. If you ever come in and there's no captions on, just tell me and I can turn them on. It's literally just a couple of clicks. I just keep forgetting. Yoink. Oh, jeez. Slippy.
Look at him now. You think he's dead? See this big black hole in his head? I think it's safe to say he's still. Get him! That fucking hurt!
I love it when they try to run. That's my favorite. We want to go ahead and try this combat challenge again. This is the grapple one that I'm just not good at because I'm not very good with grappling.
You again. Aren't you tired of cutting off hands?
Not yet, no. But I've got an even better challenge in mind. You see those spikes?
Ah, jeez.
I mean,
Ugh, yeah. More zombie guts. Fantastic.
What the fuck? Okay, cool. Did it. Awesome. Hello. Oh, there's no spikes on this side. My bad. I'm not good with the grapple. I'm not, dude, you're not even the best. I'm just not good with the grapple. I think that zombie just jumped off the roof to get to me. They're so goofy sometimes. You just want to give me like a hug or something, and I don't know. I'm not really like a physical affection kind of guy sometimes. See, here's my thing. I'm not really like, I won't usually give people physical affection, but most of the time I won't really stop them from giving it to me. Like, if somebody just is like, hey buddy, and gives me a hug, or just like lays down on me or something, I'll just be like, yeah, sometimes. Some other times I'm like, ew, don't fucking touch me. No, it's a mixed bag with me. Hello.
You have my wolfsbane. Good. I'm sure it was not an easy task.
No, actually it was
Wait,
pretty
I've got
simple.
something for you. You've earned it.
Cool, thank you. I wish it told me how many drops I'd delivered. Can I just say? Because, like, I don't know. It doesn't say, like, oh, bleh, at a bleh. It just says, deliver the fucking packs, dingus. Alright, let's go do some main story crap. That's you. That's what you sound like, bozo. Hi, buddy! Oh, okay. Alright, I'm not sure what Crane just grabbed, but okay. I learned something cool about this game. The entire thing is actually motion captured, so you can watch cutscenes in third person. And like Crane won't just be awkwardly standing there, he'll be actually moving, which I think is pretty neat. Owie. Let's try this one again.
More zombie guts. Fantastic.
I just need there to not be so many in the way. Hello. Yeah, it's a fun game. I played it once like 3 years ago and I'm just kind of getting back into it a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'm still not good at grapple. Okay, that's just... fucking hell, I fucking hate grapple. There's a reason I never use grapple and it's because I actually kind of hate it. I'm doing the main story. I don't have friends. Why would I do online things? You fool. I don't have friends and I'm not playing with a bunch of strangers. So, like, I'm not doing online. Okay, dude, I really fucking hate... I really fucking hate this challenge, because I've played it 2 way more than one. You can actually go and look, and I've played 2 so many times. Like, I have so many long-ass streams that are just me playing Dying Light 2. I prefer 2 in terms of gameplay. Is there a mod that lets you kill NPCs? Asking for a friend. Yeah, asking for a friend, I say after I say I don't have any friends. The voice is in my head. That's the friend I'm asking for. Yeah. I prefer the gameplay of 2, mostly for the parkour combat. I love the parkour combat in 2. I think it's a lot better. But the story in 2 is kind of garbage. Like, I know that the story in 1 isn't the best thing, but it's also not the worst thing. Ow. The fuck are you talking about? I love it when they're like, you're not gonna take me without a fight, and then meanwhile bro's just in fucking... he's just in a fucking box. Like, okay, dude. I've not really noticed... I think in terms of the gore and everything, zombie killing in 1 is definitely goated, but like, I prefer the parkour combat over the weapons, so I'm kind of biased towards my preference for 2. I don't know why there's corpses there. For once, I don't think that was me. I did see the gore demonstration that they did for Dying Light the Beast, and I am extremely excited for it. It looks, first of all, the game itself looks so good, but on top of that, having the, like, amount of gore that they have, that they're gonna have in the Beast, I'm really excited. Okay. Is this... it's not showing the durability. I know you guys can't see it because it's behind me, but like it's not showing me any durability. has durability here. I don't know. It's weird. I know a lot of people were asking for the like skeleton thing to be brought back, like when you hit a zombie in the right spot sometimes and then you can hear the like bone breaking noise and you see their skeleton. I know people were asking for that to come back, and I agree. I think that's a really cool detail that they have in 1. I'm hoping it was. From so far, as far as I'm concerned, I know I love Jade. Oh, she died. I hate her death so much. I love Jade. As far as I'm concerned with Dying Light the Beast, it's gonna be the same thing. Like, it's gonna be a Dying Light game, but it's not gonna have a great story, which is, like, I think just what people expect from a Dying Light game at this point. Jade really is. She's so goated. I still can't believe that she's a boxer, though. She just does not look... She just does not look like one.
We need to get a closer look.
What's in the boxes?
I don't know if it's supposed to be, like... Because thinking about it, now it's like... Maybe that was kind of the point. Like, they didn't make her look like a boxer because it's supposed to be, oh, don't underestimate her. And I'm like, I never underestimate a woman in a video game. Especially not in a zombie video game. I will say the one thing I do hate is I still don't like the quote-unquote romance between Jade and Crane. It feels so forced to me.
Jade, where? Shit.
Dude, just go after her, honestly. He really does. Yeah, I always... Crane feels like just he would prefer to be single. Aiden, I always kind of headcanoned Aiden as Ace Arrow.
Fucking Tahir. That guy's dying of fire.
As opposed to anything else. I don't know. I don't know if that's just me or what. Because so many people are like, I wish I could sleep with Lawan, which I think is less of a... They ship Aiden with Lawan and more that they find Lawan hot, which, okay, I guess. I mean, she's pretty, but I wouldn't say she's hot. I also don't know why you would want to sleep with her. Her personality sucks. Jade is a much better love interest.
We should use different entrances. We'll cover more ground, and we'll make less noise moving separately.
Like, if they were gonna have romance in one of the 2 games, I definitely think I would prefer 1 just because Jade is a much better character than Lawan.
There was a basement entrance at the back of the building. No harm in trying it.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Crane is like a single guy. Just a lad.
Another dead end.
Okay. Shit. You'll have to come in the way I did. I just hope we can find another way out if we have to. Head for the outbuilding on the roof.
No, I don't know. But here's the thing that pisses me off about the like the having sex thing. The people that want to have sex in this game are the same exact people that are like, well, why do we need pride flags? It's the apocalypse. It's like, well, why are you trying to have sex? It's the apocalypse. Wha- Like, I don't necessarily think that this... Because there were so many people that were, like, asking for queer characters to be in Dying Light the Beast. And then people were like, well, we don't need queer representation, it's the apocalypse. But you want to have sex? But you for some reason want there to be a sex scene? Sex is okay. Gay people? Nah, gay people aren't allowed in the apocalypse. Which is really funny. My thing with, like, the queer people in games, I can understand where some people are coming from in terms of, like, oh, well, it's the apocalypse, why would you worry about that? But, like, we're not asking for pride flags to be dangling all over the city. I like how they had it in 2, where the first women you meet, that where you're with Hakan and he takes you to the girls' workshop, they're lesbians. Oh yeah, I'd suffer though. If it were the Dying Light 2 apocalypse, I'd be dead so fast because of my pots. I just can't. It's like, yeah, first of all, the girls you meet when you're with Hakan, the
Saute
workshop,
here at
those
the
are
school.
lesbians. They literally
These
have a
men are
pride
hauling
flag
all kinds of
hanging
stuff
up.
out of
And then Juan is bisexual. And I legit did not
Get
even
them
pick up on the
inside.
fact that he's fucking bisexual until like my 3rd playthrough.
That's the most likely place for them to store
Shoo.
supplies. They should be marked somehow.
But like,
Military jargon is pretty straightforward, so it
Point-
shouldn't be hard to notice.
point being, I just think it's stupid that people were getting all butthurt over the existence, over gay people and like queer people asking for there to be pride flags. Because I think that the way that they handled, the way that they handled queer people, I say in quotation marks, I think the way that they did queer people in 2 was fine. There was no attention brought to it. It was still just, yeah, we're in the apocalypse, so nobody really cares. And then there was just like a pride flag hanging up in a workshop. That's it, just do that. That's all I really need in a game. Other than that, give me more parkour combat. Better parkour, more combat. I want to be able to poke a zombie with my finger and it dies. I know we're getting a new skill tree in the Beast and I'm hyped. I'm hyped for it. Okay. I know that there's a secret, so I demonstrated last time that Crane can't play guitar. Okay. But Vigi.
Idiots. Think to check the basement? Of course not, because the key is still up here. Get your shit together.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that guy's loudspeaker sounds like it's outside. So, I demonstrated last time that Crane doesn't know how to play the guitar. He's real bad at it. But during this mission, you can find a, sorry, I'm a little lost. You can find a, I think it's a locker, I'm not sure. It's a locker or a cabinet in the back of one of these rooms. There's like a how-to book for guitars, so you can learn how to play guitar. And then the next time he touches it, it's actually sounds better. How the fuck? Okay, I'm stupid. I hate external maps. Please give me an internal map. I'm sorry, I've only played this game once, okay? I just don't remember where I'm going. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Dude, where are we going? Okay, I'm on the table now. I'm pretty sure I got lost here last time, too. I just for the life of me could not figure out where the fuck I was supposed to be. Sorry, is there some sort of secret passageway that I'm missing? Because I don't... Look, I'm looking at the map. I don't see anywhere I can go. Help. Voices in my head, help. Oh my fucking god, I could Stupid. I didn't realize I could open that door. It was a door, guys. The answer was open the door. I figured it out. Okay. They figured out my weakness, though. I can't open doors, apparently. Sorry. Just got a big burst of pain. Oh. Yay, bodies! Oh wait, these are probably kids. Oh, look, a door! Anyways, I'm just gonna brush over that. What? No, there's not. How do you project your voice like that?
Turn that damn thing off. We're gonna have walkers swarming toward the school.
We got somebody in here that don't need to be. Find him and kill him.
Where's the guitar manual? How am I supposed to know where the hell the alarm is? Where's the fucking alarm? Don't yell at me! Oh, don't yell at me! I'm sorry. Oh, hi, buddy. Yeah, basically. Wait. Can Rice's men not read, or is that actually just not English? Okay, sorry, that was really awkward. Inventory full. It's because this fucking weapon I have is so good. I don't wanna. Fell asleep on the toilet. Okay, see, no, you know what? Now I have to go back up to the other floors. Yeah, I do my best to be cool as hell. I told you this weapon is so sick. Okay, now I have to go back upstairs and open up all the doors, because I didn't think I could open up those doors, but I in fact can. So now we have to run back upstairs while this sick music plays. The fucking dancing. Wait. Oh, never mind. I thought they blocked me in. And in reality, I just don't know where doors are. Okay, that's the wrong way. That's literally just a circle. I can open some doors, but I can't open all of them. Anybody shitting? Nope. I don't remember where we run into the, like, child zombies. Was that it? I think those were the only doors. Somebody's breaking through something. It's like, I know that there's, I think that they're just, are they called? I know, I move places now. I move more like a 2D avatar than a 3D avatar now, so I'm just a lot more animated. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. And the only thing I don't like about it is, but that's a Warudo issue. It's like my body moves, but then my arms are technically in the same place, so whenever I go over, it's interesting, but like I said, that's a Warudo issue. I might bring it up in the Discord, see if they'll do something about it, because it really fucking bothers me. It's like, I like having the little mouse and keyboard, I don't want to turn it off, but if it continues to do that, then I'm gonna have to turn it off, because it'll just look so weird. Hi, buddy! You were struggling to open this door. Okay, I kicked him into the door so hard he died, and then immediately opened the door without any problems. Dude, Rice's men are fucking stupid. What the hell? Let me in. Let me in! Thank you. Okay, it turns out I am a bird and I can't see glass. This is the... It is, I hate my face, so wearing a mask was out of the question, so I just became a VTuber. VTubers have become a lot more popular, but you'll probably still get a lot of hate for it. I've only actually gotten one person coming in and being a hater. Most of the time it's either regular ass people or bots. Believe it or not, there are some regular ass people that tune in. It's crazy to think about, I know. I was supposed to go up those stairs. Oh my god. This is embarrassing. Yeah, that's how it is. It be like that. Why do they walk like that? The fuck? Hi. Oh, Jesus! Sorry, I wasn't expecting there to be some when I turned the corner. I really do. I really like when somebody says something that's like, they think is so edgy and you're just sat there frog blinking at them. Like, buddy, you're not edgy, you're just a teenager. You're not edgy, you're just 10 years old and you think that you're like the coolest shit ever, but you're not. Ah! I'm not edgy, I'm just emo. Okay. Let me hit you! Oh my god! No, wait, where's the guitar book? I want to find the guitar book. Shit, dude. Where's the guitar book? It's in the school. I already know about it. Like, I already know about the Easter egg that you can play the guitar. I just... Do I have to come back after this mission? No, I should be able to get it. It says it's in the first cabinet, so I have to go all the way back up to the top of the school, which is whatever. This way. I'm sure that fire that's lit right by all of these chemicals is safe. I instinctively went towards the orange circle. Okay, but it was actually the correct way. Love that for me. I love it when I accidentally go the correct direction. Okay. My god, this music. Here's the ladder, so it would be in here. Stop that. Stop that. It's not, though. Am I stupid? Well, yes, but like... Twitch has always had that option. And even then, it's not like, It's not as if you giving your channel points up plays the ad. The streamer still has to go in and play the ad. If you use your channel points to request ad time, then like the streamer still has to go in and activate it. I like it as an option mostly because my main revenue is ads. So, you know? But it definitely depends. It's definitely not a feature that everybody uses, I'm sure. It's also, like, you can fully turn it off, you know, if you don't want to have the thing of, like, letting people use their channel points to request an ad, then you could fully turn it off, because you can just turn channel point redemptions off and on, so... It's not like it's that big of a deal, but I can definitely see what you mean, yeah. Like, I'm not fully against it, because yeah, it's... I'm like a 50-50 split on ads, because Twitch does not pay that much for ads, no, but if you think about it, ad revenue in general is really not that much. Like, it's just not, unfortunately. You can, just go turn them off. Literally just go turn them off. If you don't like them, then just turn them off. It's not actually gonna hurt your growth, it's just gonna hurt your money. I'm pretty damn sure you can turn off ads. I could be wrong about that. Failed to load module, of course you did. You can turn it down to 30 seconds, so just do that. Okay, but it's 30 seconds. So just turn it off, because they'll only see like the 30 seconds of ads. I don't know. I bet it depends, because I've had plenty of people stick around for my 3-minute ads. Yeah, just go turn it down to 30 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. Sorry, I keep getting fucking ads for fucking colleges literally everywhere. You guys can even hear that. I don't know if you can. Well, dude, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I can't exactly help you there. Because no matter what, people are gonna get fucking ads. If they don't want to deal with it, then that's their problem. That's not really your problem. And you might be able to turn your ads off if you're partnered. That might be what it is. Because I know that there's definitely streamers that don't have ads at all. I don't think you can turn off the ads playing when somebody first clicks on your stream, but I know that you can turn off ads at least when you're partner. No, I get what you mean. But I'm also kind of like, I understand ads are bad. I understand that they can be a lot. But also, if you're gonna sit there and complain about ads, then either sub or just shut up and be happy that you can provide your streamer with some kind of support. Like, just, dude, be happy that I'm not playing 22 minutes of ads every hour, because, by the way, that's how many ads you can play per hour. It's supposed to be here. I might have to come back after this mission, because it's supposed to be here, I swear. No, I know, I think we've been over this. I'm not really speaking to you, I'm just speaking to people that do viewers in general. Where the fuck is the guitar book? Dying Light. Where the fuck is it? I've played the guitar. It's telling me in order to activate it, I need to play the guitar. I've done that. Yeah, I'm trying. You can find a book. And if you find a book, and so you can find a book in the school, and the book inside of the school is like how to play guitar. And then when you go back, he's better at guitar. I might have to come back after doing this mission. I swear that people said you could do it during this mission, but I'm just not seeing it where it's supposed to be. This person is walking so fucking slow. Okay. I think I have to come back after this mission. Because where's the entrance to get here? Hold on. I know where it is now that I have watched a quick YouTube video that literally, I'm not even fucking joking. For some reason, that guy started his YouTube video standing in the tower and then forced you to watch as he ran to the school. Just start in the school. I'm begging you. Please. Okay. So here's the issue. It's in there, but you can't get in there. So we either have to come back or we can access it on our way out. One of the two. That was way better than any YouTube tutorial. I'm gonna assume it's probably like that for the rest of these classrooms too, because like I can definitely hear zombies inside of them, right? And hey, now you know where it is. such a simple thing. See, you see how easy it is to make a quick and easy to follow YouTube tutorial? You see how easy, wow, maybe I should be a fucking YouTuber. Ew, gross. You just died a little bit on the inside, even suggesting that. What the fuck? Sorry, I thought I saw a bug. My fucking hallucinations have been a little bit silly lately, and I keep seeing, like, just bugs out of the corner of my eye. No, for real though. YouTube is absolutely goated for tutorials. Except for sometimes when you get like a YouTube tutorial and it's 20 minutes long and the first 10 minutes is them explaining like the process but not actually showing you the process, and it's like, dude, I hate to break it to you, but my brain does not work like that. And did I just go back upstairs? I think I went back upstairs. Oh my fucking god. I just use a calculator like a normal person. I don't really trust AI right now. I think it like... This is gonna be so many people are gonna be so fucking pissed off when I say this. I think it can be good for some things. Genuinely, I think that there are certain benefits to it with specific things. But, like, generative AI that people are using for, you know, images and, like, fucking writing whole-ass books using generative AI, nah, that shit's stupid as fucking hell. I'm whatever with you using it for math. Like, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I'm whatever with it being used for math, because I understand math is hard, but don't use AI as a replacement for creativity, you know? Like, don't go, I want to paint this picture, so I'm gonna use AI. No, just go, I'm gonna paint this picture, so I want to paint this picture, so I'm gonna paint this picture. And then there you go, it's that simple. Go, open up your Microsoft Paint, and get your mouse ready, and pick your little colors, and paint your little picture. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Room. There is nothing in here. Generative AI is awful. No, for real. And then like the amount of people that are like, oh, you're an artist? Well, we can't all be born with talent. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Nobody ever said that any artists were born with talent. Well,
C to search, though.
I'm sure that there have been some that are.
I'll meet you down there.
Like, I'm not gonna say every single artist isn't born with talent, because there are some people that are just born with talent. I do understand that, and I do know that that is a thing. But, like, assuming that artists are only good because they were born good is really stupid. Okay, what was the oh, never mind, I figured it out. Aha! Let me in! I need to learn how to play guitar! Yeah, anyone can do it. Like, anybody can learn how to play an instrument. Well, most people, I do understand actually that there are like legitimate things that like, I wouldn't say not every single person can. There are, you know, most people have their limits. Like, I'd just say for a quick example, I really struggle to learn other languages. So it's this whole thing of, oh, anybody can learn a different language. It's like, technically you're right, but not really. So there are people that are going to struggle with art more than others. But you also have to keep in mind, most people do art because, like, for no other reason than they enjoy it. If you're shit at art, but you like to do it, just do it. Nobody cares. Even if you make really, really shitty art, there are genuinely people that will look at it and will go, oh, hey, that's not too bad, and then give you tips. And then they'll give you some like fairly helpful tips. Every fucking time. Every fucking time. It's always the damn bombers. It's like sometimes all you really need for tips is like, you know, just sometimes all you really need to be better at art is just some simple tips. I'm not saying that everybody is always like there are people that aren't the best at art and are always going to be shit with art. I'm just saying that obviously not everybody is going to be able to do art on a professional level, but that's okay. That's fine. Just it's whatever. If you want to draw, if you want to be a little artist, then just do it. Just do it. Fucking Nike that shit. Just do it. Yeah, honestly. Well, okay, I can understand why you'd say that, but also at the same time, you have to keep in mind, not everybody is going to be able to afford a commission. You could certainly try to find an artist that'll take requests. Because it's not like... There are some artists don't take requests, but there are definitely going to be artists out there that do take requests. And don't just do commissions, because I understand you can't, not everybody can commission somebody.
Why don't you just stick your head out the door and shout, "Here we are, come get us"?
Hey, sometimes there's nothing wrong with the direct.
It's like, if you can pay an artist and you're looking for something specific, then go ahead, by all means, get a commission from somebody.
Plastic explosives, right?
But if you can't, then I'd say either wait.
Listen, you take this stuff and get back to the tower. I'll deal with these assholes.
Yeah, no, if it's for, like, if you're doing it for a business, then whatever, but if you're just trying to find a photo of something that you like, then that's, like, just go ahead and, just, like, go request or something.
Promise me you won't let Rahim near that hut.
What? Yeah,
Oh, Rahim's gonna die, sorry. It's like, yeah, no, for a professional thing, absolutely, yeah, but also, like, you have to, don't forget, you have to be upfront with the artist. Don't just go, hey, will you draw this thing for me? Here's money for commission. Also, don't just go into an artist's DMs and go, I want you to draw this for me. Because that's just rude. Nah, for real. Everybody was like, Rahim, that's really dangerous. And Rahim was like, I can't hear you over the explosives. like, yeah, don't go into an artist's, you don't go into an artist's DMs and just, like, immediately ask them to draw something. I think most artists have said that, like, they would rather you go into their DMs and ask what their prices are than you just going in and immediately going, hey, will you draw this for me? I can't do it myself, so draw it for me. It's like, okay, look, buddy. Hi, buddy! Hi, buddy! Hi, buddy. It basically, like, don't be a dick, you know? That's it. That's really it. Then this goes for everybody. Just don't be a fucking dick. I only sometimes care about looting, and this is not one of those times. Yeah, I fucking love Rahim, but, like, rip Rahim. No, they really don't. The internet has actually just ruined people so much. Nobody has common sense. Nobody has, like, any sort of fucking empathy for others. Everybody is just such a terrible person, and just a stupid person at all the time. And I'm just like, guys, it's not that serious. I'm sorry little Timmy wouldn't draw you that pretty picture you wanted, but, like, just come on, bro. Just come on, bro. How do I leave? Wait. What? Where is it trying to make me go to leave? Why wouldn't I just leave the way that I came? Everything is just this reality shit show, and it's really sad, honestly. Where the fucking fucking hell is this trying to make me leave? Please don't tell me I was supposed to leave while I was in the basement. I was supposed to leave while I was in the basement, wasn't I? Wasn't. I literally just had to kill Rice's men and then turn back around and leave. Oh my fucking god.
Shit. Jade and I went looking for Antizin and found explosives instead. Now we need to get the hell out of here before Tahir comes back.
Grab him! Give him a crisp high five! It's nighttime. I'm scared. Why does he sound so feral? Yo, he sounds like me when my mom said she made dinner. Sea Fairy, come downstairs. I made a dinner. Nya, 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 nya. Oh my fucking fuck.
Crane, you said we needed to talk about other options if we didn't find any Antizin.
And we will, but right now let's deal with these explosives, okay?
Yeah,
I'll give the explosives to Saeed and you talk to Rahim.
look,
Make sure he stays away from that hive.
Jade girl, I love you, but now is really not the time to be calling me.
Right.
This is really not the time to be calling me. That was actually not that bad. Okay.
Want a deal?
Alright, what do you got? They're on vacation. Like a permanent vacation that they can never come back from. If you know what I mean. Okay, why do I have to sleep out here in the rain, but this guy gets to, what the fuck?
I legally can't answer this question, okay? You'll have to speak to my lawyer about it. Okay, yeah, alright.
Dude, there's fucking binoculars everywhere. Why did it take me so long to find a damn pair of binoculars earlier? Did that say wait until night? Was it not already nighttime? 15 hours later. Oh my fucking god. It had just turned a day, hadn't it? That's why it said night survive. I thought it said, oh my god, I thought it fucking said night survived because I got to a safe so it's fine. Yeah, I love this. The screams help me sleep, personally. The volatile screams and the viral screams. You know how it is, you know how it is. Ooh, shrooms. What if the voices are just volatile and viral screaming? should make this a bit. I should start talking to the zombies whenever I see them. Whenever they scream at me, I should just start screaming back. That rock really confused me, I guess. Okay. Don't touch me. You're gross. Hey, what's up? Sorry I exploded some guy outside, you know? Dude, life is struggling right now. I'm fucking warm as hell. But, like, I can't take this fucking heating pad off. It's so hot, but I can't take off the fucking heating pad. Oh my god.
Wow, you get to work with her, don't you?
I'm sorry? Work with who?
Jade Aldemir, the Scorpion. God, she is so.
What is on your necklace? What is that?
The whole reason why I came to Haran.
You came here to see Jade?
Wow, you're on a first-name basis with her? That's.
What is that?
Die.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, she was supposed to compete in the global games, you know?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, despite there being so many fucking.
People used to say she
Oh, she's like kick butt.
She's the reason I started training, you know? I wanted to be just like her. And then my dad got me and my sister tickets to the game for my graduation present. And we came here and my sister. Right after all the sirens started going off and the soldiers showed up in the streets. We were trying to get to a safe spot and she tripped and...
My best guess would just be like location.
And she didn't make a sound because it knocked the wind out of her. And then I realized she wasn't with me and turned around.
And the soldiers got her?
All over her. I couldn't even see her for all the fighters. But I've been thinking to myself ever since then, how would the Scorpion handle this? And I've been trying to be brave. When you see her again, would you tell her? One of her biggest fans says hi.
I will, definitely.
I can understand the whole, like, they're all most likely dressed like this because just purely based off of location. But yeah, no, this it's definitely not how you want to dress in the apocalypse. It's like, I feel like Crane's dressed pretty decently for the apocalypse. It's not even, you wouldn't even necessarily need to wear layers. You'd have to wear something that's, like, thick, though. But even then, if a zombie really wants to bite you, it's gonna figure out a way to bite through all those layers. Because the issue with you putting on too many layers is that, yes, you would maybe be safe from the zombies, however, you could very easily get heat stroke. You could very easily get too hot and then get heat stroke and then just die anyways. It's less of a, needing to wear a bunch of layers to protect yourself from the bites and more of a just needing to know how to avoid the zombies.
She wanted me to talk to Rahim about the volatile hive and how she wants him to stay the hell away from it.
Because, like, you'd want to dress in a protective way, but you wouldn't want what you're wearing to hinder your movement. That's the main thing. You wanna be able to have. Oh, that's cool. That's the main thing. You still want to be able to have the ability to move around from and get away from the zombies. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's why you wouldn't want to layer up too much. I can definitely understand the thinking, but thinking about it a bit more, it's not really logical.
Jade gave them to him.
Because it'd be too warm.
Saeed used to be on a bomb squad, so he knows about that stuff.
Yeah, kid. That was a lucky find. Would've been better to turn up some antizin, though.
Rahim, my beloved.
The Omar is making sure Saeed's putting good timers on those things. We have to be able to get our asses out of there before they blow.
Whoa, we? There's no we in this. I mean, yeah, that nest needs to go, and now it's possible, but if it gets done, I'm doing it on my own.
But It's my plan.
And I will execute it perfectly, I promise.
But... Ah, shit.
Yeah,
There's
just
no
get some
use arguing
sugar
with you,
or
is there?
flour. One of the two.
Fine. I'll contact you as soon as Saeed's finished with the charges.
Raheem, do we have a deal?
I guess.
Do we have a deal?
Yes. We have a deal.
Okay, one more thing. I keep seeing this bizarre kind of infected. Is Dr. Zera out at his trailer? I'd like to talk to him about it.
Nah, he's down in sick bay visiting Dr. Lena.
Thanks, kid. I'll see you soon.
Bro, I told you, Crane, that's literally just me when my mom said she made dinner. My god. I mean, like, you can ask her if you don't believe me. I'll be like, yo, mom, what noises do I make when you call me for dinner? And she'll be like, feral ones. Like, told you. It's literally just me. I can't believe I'm actually just a bolter.
Oh, it's, Kane. Yes.
I love learning about crime.
Crane.
Classic.
Remember when I told you about that weird infected I saw? You know, the one who took one look at me and hauled ass away? Yeah, well, I just saw another one, and it did the same thing.
I believe I have heard your colleagues talk about those creatures. Bolters, they call them. Apparently, they favor certain areas of town over others, but only appear at night. I don't suppose you could catch one and bring me a sample of its flesh.
I could. That doesn't
You
mean I'm
see,
going
a
to.
thought occurred to me. A long shot, I realize. But if these creatures favor areas where I left my experimental bait, well, let's not
Dude,
get ahead of
I
ourselves.
imagine most people are
Please
on a
do
watch
obtain
list
sample,
nowadays.
But it has to be fresh. So you have to get it back to me quickly.
Okay, and where exactly do I find these things?
I'm told that Quartermaster chap has been keeping track of them.
I thought the guy's name was Chap for a second, and then I remembered, no, that's like a term of endearment, kinda, sorta. Not really a term of endearment, that's just, it's like the equivalent to dude, you know?
Seems there's some survivors at the bazaar, and the witch is one of them. Guess if anyone's gonna bullshit their way to safety, it's gonna be Dahlia, right?
Did you say she's a witch?
She says
I'm
she's
half
a witch. She claims the infected won't even touch her.
We'll
Voodoo hocus pocus.
we'll pick up these quests,
walked clean
but I'm
across
gonna
the
have to
city
go,
without
guys.
being
I'm sorry, I hurt a lot
Maybe
right
she
now.
knows something we don't.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm fine,
Maybe
don't
she's
worry.
completely full of
It's
shit.
just look if you. I did get up and get a heating pad. If that doesn't tell you what the problem is, I don't know what will.
But I wonder what they were doing there.
Okay, thanks. Good talk.
Zera asked me to bring him a sample from that bolter I saw in front of the school. He said they've been spotted in specific areas of the city, so I should focus my...
So in other words, what you're telling me is that I'm forced to do this. Sag. Who has... here we go. Okay.
Walkie-talkies work much better. Raheem's electronic parts. Don't expect the radios to work any better. The truth is, Raheem is trying to build a robot.
What can I do for you?
That guy
Zera
just
says
starts
you know where I should
talking.
look for
I'm
these,
just like, that's nice.
Bolters. Super fast infected, covered in big green blisters.
Oh, yeah. I can point you in the right direction. Here, and here. Though
You
if
didn't-
ask me, if trouble don't come looking for
You pointed to the
no
same
reason to go looking
spot.
for
You
trouble.
didn't move your hand at
Words
all.
to live by, thanks.
What? He didn't move his hand at all. What is? Huh? What?
The scouts have seen people entering the school. Something's going on there.
I've been told. I'll check it out later, though. Probably next time. I'm sorry, guys. I hurt. I hurt. I'll be fine on Saturday. Just for right now, I hurt. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry stream was so short. I'll like I said, I'll be fine on Saturday, so we'll be back. But as always, until next time, you guys know the drill. Stay fruity. Good night and good luck. And I will see you guys later. Hey.